think about it. Your mind is basically the most powerful operating system on the planet. The only problem? It didn't come with an owner's manual. We're all just sort of expected to know how to use it. Well, in this explainer, we're going to change that. We're going to dive into how to actually understand, debug, and ultimately upgrade our own mental OS. I mean, have you ever felt like that? Those moments where you're frustrated, anxious, or just feeling off, and you can't even figure out why. You want to feel good, but your brain seems to be running a completely different program. Look, it's not your fault, and you're for sure not alone. That feeling is actually our starting point for taking back control. So, to get a handle on our mental operating system, we've got to start with its factory settings. Our brains have a default mode, a way they're wired to run right out of the box. And understanding this is the first absolutely crucial step before we can make any real changes. We kind of just assume that our natural state should be happiness, right? And if we're not happy, then something must be wrong with us. But what if that whole idea is just flawed? What if our brain's number one mission isn't to make us feel good at all? Here's the deal. Your brain's default program is all about one thing: survival. It's a lightning-fast reaction machine designed to spot threats and keep you alive. But our goal, what we want in our modern lives, is usually happiness and fulfillment. And those two directives, they're often pulling in totally opposite directions. Your brain isn't designed to make you happy, it's designed to keep you safe. And that's exactly why it can feel like it's working against you. But here is the absolute game changer. Our brain isn't static hardware. It's more like rewritable software. And this is called neuroplasticity. Every single time you learn something new or have a new experience, your brain physically changes. It literally forms new connections. This means we are not stuck with our default settings. We can actively, consciously upgrade our own system. Okay, so if our brain is an operating system, then what are those messy negative emotions? Well, they're basically software bugs. They pop up out of nowhere and just disrupt everything. The good news is we can debug them. So let's look at a few practical, in-the-moment tricks to fix these common mental glitches. I want you to remember this number: 90 seconds. That's it. According to neuroscientists, that's the natural lifespan of an emotion on a purely chemical level. It's the time it takes for that hormonal rush of a feeling, like anger or sadness, to completely flush out of your body. Yeah, this comes from Harvard-trained neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolte-Taylor. And what it means is pretty huge. After those 90 seconds are up, any feeling that's still hanging around, well, that's not the initial chemical reaction anymore. It's you, consciously or not, choosing to stay in that emotional loop by re-triggering the thought that caused it. Knowing this gives you a critical little window of opportunity to take back the controls. So how do you actually do it? Here are 3 incredibly fast brain hacks. First, the face feedback switch. Just gently relax your jaw and lift the corners of your mouth a little. This physical action signals safety to your brain and actually reduces stress chemicals. Second, name it to tame it. Simply label the emotion in your head. Okay, I am feeling anxious. This shifts you out of your reactive emotional brain and into your logical observing brain. And third, the micro-win. Do one tiny productive thing, like taking a slow breath or tidying one object. Your brain loves to reward progress, not just giant success, so it'll give you a little hit of dopamine. Okay, so we've got our quick fixes for the heat of the moment. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Debugging is great for the short term, but we also want to install some long-term upgrades to make our entire mental operating system more powerful, more efficient, and way more resilient. Neuroscience has shown us that effective learning isn't just random, it's a process. It starts with focused attention to carve out that new neural path. Then you need alertness, maybe from a little bit of exercise, to get the brain ready to learn. Repetition, of course, strengthens those new connections, while breaks actually allow the brain to consolidate all that new info. And so crucial, sleep. That's when short-term memories really get locked in for the long haul. And finally, you have to embrace mistakes. They're actually a feature, not a bug. They signal your brain to pay attention and adapt. You've probably heard of the butterfly effect, right? Well, it's not just a sci-fi concept, it's a perfect model for personal growth. Every time you use one of these little brain hacks or apply one of those learning secrets, you're doing more than just making a tiny change. You are flapping a butterfly's wings. Seriously, think about it. That one little decision to name your anxiety instead of spiraling, or to take a real break instead of just scrolling, it seems so insignificant in the moment. But over time, all those small, consistent actions start to compound. They create a massive storm of positive change. You're not just changing a tiny habit, you are changing your entire life's trajectory. So you've been upgrading your internal operating system. What now? Now you get to use that tuned-up mind to navigate the external world way more effectively. And this is especially true when you're dealing with difficult social situations or high-conflict people, where having a good strategy will beat raw emotion every single time. This is such a powerful tool for your strategic toolkit. You see, high-conflict people often feed on emotional reactions. Your anger, your frustration, your tears, that's their fuel. The gray rock method is all about cutting off that supply. You basically become as emotionally non-reactive and uninteresting as a plain old gray rock. Now, the goal here is absolutely key. You are not trying to win the argument or prove you're right. You are trying to make the entire interaction completely unrewarding for them. When they try to get a reaction and they get nothing, their brain doesn't get that emotional charge it was looking for, and eventually the behavior just fades away because it's no longer working for them. So how does this actually look in practice? Well, we avoid JADE. That's justifying, arguing, defending, or explaining. All that stuff just gives manipulators ammunition to twist your words. Instead, we use BIFF. Keep your communication brief, informative, friendly, and firm. It gives them no hooks for drama, it protects your own energy, and it forces the conversation to either be productive or to simply end. So how does all this come together? We've talked about debugging, we've talked about upgrading, and we've talked about strategy. But all of it, every single technique, is built on one foundational philosophy: taking total, radical ownership of your internal operating system. This is the key to becoming mentally unbreakable. This right here, this is the master switch for everything. People with an external locus of control feel like life is happening to them. They're basically victims of circumstance. But mentally strong people operate from an internal locus of control. They believe that no matter what happens around them, they are the ones who decide what happens next. This really nails the true cost of that external mindset. The second you adopt that victim label, you've literally just given away your agency. Taking ownership isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about focusing all your energy on the things you can control, instead of obsessing over what you can't. This reframes a concept we all know in a really powerful way. True karma isn't some cosmic judge handing out punishments and rewards. It's just a mirror. It's the ultimate principle of agency. The energy you generate through your thoughts and your actions comes right back to you as the reality you experience. Your world is a direct reflection of your internal state. So the takeaway is this: you are the programmer. You hold the owner's manual. With every choice, every small action, and every single thought, you are writing the code for your own reality. The upgrade isn't something that happens to you. It's something you are actively creating, starting right now.